It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris Don One. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my YouTube channel. Feel free to hit the subscription button, notification bell, share this with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this YouTube channel lit in the YouTube algorithm. It's your boy. I'm Chris Don One. I'm your host, your moderator, your pro tiger. Shannon Sharp used to say that on Club Shay Shay. I forgot what he actually said. I haven't seen Club Shay Shay in a minute, okay? But anyway, I'm that guy. I'm one of those ones, okay? Yeah, so yesterday I did a live stream, an unexpected live stream. Hold on one second. I did a live stream, unexpected. I figured let me go on and get a live stream out in the atmosphere. And guys, comment in the comment section if you guys want me to continue to do these live streams and tell you guys stories. Someone in the chat wanted me to go in detail about a story. So I told them a real life story. They had fun with it. A lot of people were entertained with the story that I did a couple of days ago. Go check out that live at your leisure. So I figured, hey, let's follow it up with another story. I'll keep continuing to do these lives and telling you guys different stories. If it entertains you guys, if you guys want to come in and hit the like button and just sit for a spell and listen to a couple of stories, that's cool. All right. So I got another story. So this story, I'm gonna tell you the time. Man. I was down bad, man. I was doing bad out here in these streets, man. I was Diddy before Diddy. Okay, pause. I didn't do exactly what Diddy did, but I can understand why Diddy liked to have his freak on. There was a moment in time I was, hyperactive and I wanted to get my freak on. All right, so I'm gonna tell y'all this story. Okay, so learn from this story, be entertained by this story, laugh at this story, but make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so peep this. All right, I was in high school. I feel like from middle school to high school, I was at an all-time horniness. Okay, I was just hornier than a horn dog. Okay, and man, it didn't take that much for me to, get aroused. Okay, now from middle school to high school, some people call them the wonder years. Pretty much, I didn't get no play from middle school to high school. I had opportunities, but didn't get no play. Either there was a misunderstanding, or I thought I was going to get some, but after talking to her, I was nowhere in the vicinity of getting any. So yeah, it was hit and miss, but it was a lot of misses. Okay, if this was a basketball game, boy, I would be like 3 for 30 at the free throw line. I was awful from middle school to high school. All right, I started peaking after high school, and this is when the streak began. Okay, I can remember this like it was yesterday. So peep this. So I used to work at this warehouse job, and it was weird hours. I would, after high school, I was working at this warehouse job, and I like it because of the hours. Plus, I got the weekends off. Now, the hours were kind of weird. It was like from 9 at night to like 2 or 3 in the morning. I kind of like it because it fits what I wanted to do. Plus, I get home early enough. I can still get some sleep and still go. I was still going to college at that time. So life was pretty good, I took a year off of college. And I'll talk about that a little bit later about what I did with that year. But while I was taking a year off from school, I was doing some reflecting. I was trying to figure out my future, trying to figure out what type of majors I might pursue and things of that nature. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you are in high school and you're getting ready to go to college, don't do what I did. Okay? Please, 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 please. If you graduate from high school, go ahead and go to college. I mean, you can go to a like a volunteer college. You can go to a community college. That's what I meant to say, a community college or junior college. But just go to college because what I did was kind of wrong. Because if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have graduated from high school and went straight to college. I had to relearn a lot of stuff. I had to get back into what I was accustomed of doing in high school. And I'm telling you, high school from college, it's like amateur to professional. Okay, so if you are listening to this story, please, please don't do what I did. Don't take a year off of school. Go ahead. When you graduate, go straight to college. Okay, I'm telling you, you're going to thank me later. Okay, but anyway, that's not what this story is about. Okay, so anywho, um, like I said, I was working at this warehouse. I was working like 9 at night to like 3 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning. And that was a perfect schedule for me. Plus, I got the weekends off. Okay. I get to go out and hang out with my friends or go partying or whatever. Okay. So I was a bachelor. I didn't have no kids. I didn't have no baby mamas, no kids, no drama, no girlfriend, no wife, no none of that spit. I was enjoying the bachelor life. I did not want to be attached to anyone. Okay. But your boy was a horn dog. I was hornier than I don't know what. So I got fed up because, like I said, from middle school to high school, I was on a losing streak and it was getting desperate. Okay. I was getting super, super desperate. Okay. I even was trying to hit it off with the ugly females and I wasn't getting no play with them either. Okay. I was, man, and it wasn't that they were ugly. It was just like, looking back at it, this one girl, she was like, I don't know. I had a fascination with women that go to church. Women, I mean, yeah, well, women going to church. And if I do it all over again, I would never talk to a woman, a church going woman, because man, it takes a long time to warm up that engine, man. You have to invest a lot of time just to even get close enough for a hug, okay? Because they're so guarded, okay? But yeah, that was the type of women I was interested in, and I didn't expand my horizons to other girls like party girls, or I felt like I would have gotten some cookies. I would have gotten some a lot sooner if I would have invested a little bit more time at the club. But the times I did go to the club, you know, it just wasn't the right. It just wasn't right. Just didn't feel right. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, so I was trying out with these college girls. I mean, well, college girls, I was striking out. The club girls, I don't know, maybe it was more of me. I was getting nervous talking to, girls that are party girls. Okay. So I don't know why I got nervous around them. And the few girls that I tried to hook up with, a lot of them I met from high school. And, a lot of them, they were in their bag trying to get their careers off and going to school and things. They just had a lot of stuff. Um, they had a lot of stuff to think about. So they wasn't really interested in doing a wham bam thank you ma'am. Okay. And at that time, I wasn't I wasn't really sociable. I could talk, but I couldn't talk my way into some girls' panties. I didn't have that type of game. My dribble was awful. Okay. So yeah, I was one of those. I had to figure out things the hard way. Okay. And this is one of those things I had to figure out. So anyway, yeah, I was at the warehouse job and I was driving home one day. And that's when I saw this girl. Her name was Melissa. Now, Melissa, she was about 5'2", 5'1". She was very short, light skinned, got a fat ass. Okay. Uh, and Melissa would, I would see her out like around that time. Like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, she'd be out hanging out on the street. That's what I assume. So, every time I would park, I would see her. If she was close enough, I'll wave at her. If we was in the vicinity, I would say, "Hey, what's up?" Now, Melissa, she graduated college. I mean, she graduated high school earlier than me. Melissa's like 3 or 4 years older than me. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So Melissa has been out of high school for like 3 or 4 years. And Melissa was sort of like me. She was going to take the year off, enjoy herself, and then go to college. She had the same ideal. The only difference was she's, at that time, she was still trying to figure things out. Okay. Plus, Melissa had a kid, so it kind of complicated things. So, and then she was messing around with this guy, this dude. Anyway, so Melissa put a pause. At that time, she said she was putting a pause on her academics. And she, and I've known Melissa my whole life. That was a long pause on her academic life because she never did go back to college. Okay, thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. So, Melissa, like I said, she's about 5'1", 5'2", very short, got a fat ass, light skin. I mean, all the guys were trying to holler at Melissa, including your boy. Okay, now, I would get scared around Melissa, okay, because Melissa was a baddie. She was fine as I don't know what. She could pick whoever she wanted to deal with, okay? So yeah, I would see her when I would come home from work. So the next morning, I go to bed like around 3. I get up like around 10, maybe 11 o'clock. And I'm still living with my parents. So I'm coming down the steps, and my dad was talking to one of his friends. And they was talking about last night. They heard like a bunch of gunshots and, a lot of commotion and stuff like that. So as I was coming down the steps, my dad, asked me like, "Yo, Chris, what happened last night?" And I said, "Nothing really happened last night." I pulled up, the same old crowd was out on the street. And I just went in. I mean, that must have probably happened before I came home or after I came home. So he said, okay. So then he asked me who was out there. Okay. Now, I'm young and naive. Okay. So to me, what I was doing, I was just my dad asked me a question. I was answering his question. Okay. But to a lot of people out there, they may perceive that as me snitching or ratting people out. But, I trust my dad. I knew my dad wasn't going to rat them out and go to the police or whatnot. So I felt comfortable, talking to my dad. So he asked me, see, like, who was out? So I told him all the people that was out. And then I told him Melissa was out there too. She could probably verify what happened that night. Because like I said, I wasn't out there all night. And, they were out there all night. So he was saying Melissa. And he said, he called her a prostitute. And that was my first time, I heard the terminology prostitute, streetwalker, lot lizard. I heard all those terminologies, okay? But I was not familiar, or escort, I was not familiar in that type of lifestyle because, I just never take part in any of that. So I was thrown off that Melissa is a prostitute. And I'm going like, no, she ain't no prostitute. She was just hanging out with the guy that was like, everybody was just hanging out. He said, and then he was going like, Chris, why do you think Melissa goes out every night? She goes out every freaking night. Why do you think she does that? So that's when I found out more on Melissa. Because come to find out, Melissa had a drug problem. She had a little drug problem. Now, she managed her drug problem, but she did have a drug problem. That explains why, she's now selling herself. And, now she's taking a pause on academics, and she never had a job, but she always had money. And that was the third thing. Like, She never went to no job. She never had a job, but she will always have money on her. Okay. I'm thinking that maybe, thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. So I'm thinking like maybe her boyfriend is just giving her money, whatever. I'm thinking on that type of terminology, on that type of time. So that's when I found out how Melissa got her money, because she was a prostitute out there on the street. Now, Melissa don't look like your average prostitute that you see like in the movies or on TV. She don't look dirty. She doesn't wear a hooker outfit. She don't wear a ton of makeup. She just wear her regular clothes. So I didn't know Melissa was down into stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, my dad said that she's a prostitute. So I started, going out on the street, talking to people, make sure that what my dad is saying is correct, because he could be wrong. So I'm asking some of my friends. So some of my friends say, this dude named William. He's a big fat dude. His name is William. So I trust him. Out of all my friends, I trust him. So I walked to his apartment. We was in the project. So I walked to his mom's apartment. As was William there, she said, "Yeah, he's upstairs." I walk upstairs, and I chopped it up with him a little bit, and then I started talking about Melissa. I said, "Hey, man, I heard the most weirdest thing about Melissa." He said, "What's up?" And he said, is Melissa a prostitute?" And he said, "I thought you been knew that, Chris. Melissa been a prostitute. She been a prostitute for a while now, okay?" And I'm going like, wow, where the hell was I? He said, "Well, she keeps it on a low profile, but, everybody done been up in her, okay?" So there used to be a market across the street. And in this market, the vendors, like the bread vendor, the milk vendor, the beer vendor, lottery vendor, whatever, they will park on the other side. They'll park across the street because there was not a lot of parking in the market, and they will walk across the street to, take care of their business in the store. And that's how it started with Melissa. Melissa started, chopping it up with these vendors. One thing led to another. So now she's messing with these vendors. She messed with the Budweiser vendor, the Keebler Cracker, the vendor. She messed with the lottery vendor. She messed with all. That's how it started off with I think it started off before that, because she used to mess around with drug dealers. Because normally that's how she would get her high, because she would never have money. So a lot of the drug dealers would just give her a bump just to, run it up in the sack. Okay. That's how she would pay off the bump. Okay. So she started, I don't know, maybe she started thinking in her mind, well, if this coochie can get me a little dope, then what else it can get me? So apparently these vendors was giving her money to mess around with her. They would, do their job in the market. They would walk across the street. Melissa be like next to their vehicle. Melissa hops into the vehicle. They drive off. Melissa comes back, and she does the whole process over again. So that's how Melissa was making her money. Melissa was making way more money than I was at the factory. Trust me, okay? So, like at the factory, I would get paid every 2 weeks, and I would get like $600 or $700. $600 or $700, that's a lot of money. Okay, that was a lot of money. Maybe not a lot of money now, but that was a lot of money. Okay, and Melissa was probably making way more money than that, because she would always have these designer clothes. Her hair would be always laid. Her nails would be done. She'll get tattoos. She got one tattoo, well, a couple of tattoos. She'll be taken care of. Okay, and she don't even have to work. Okay, so yeah. So the vendor started messing with her. Okay, so I'm going like, I wonder how much it is to, to get her. All right. So I'm asking William, like, yo, how much, how much does it cost? And he's going like, Well, it varies. If you walk up to her like you don't know what you're doing, she's gonna overcharge you. Or if you walk up in there saying that this is all you're gonna give her, she's gonna squeeze more money out of you. Okay, so we're up here talking upstairs. So he's going like, wait a minute, Chris, didn't you have a crush on her? I'm like, yeah, I had a crush on her before I found out that she's a streetwalker. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I still had a crush on her. I still had a huge crush on her. Okay. So I talked it up with him. I went back home, and I saw Melissa out there by the street. So I'm gonna try to talk to her because I didn't know, I didn't know nothing of this magnitude about Melissa. So I'm about to approach her. I'm gonna walk up to her, and at that time I was kind of shy. My vocabulary wasn't on par. I didn't have the best game. I didn't have the best dribble game, but I could say a few words to probably lead me into something. So everything starts with a conversation. Okay, so as I'm walking up to her, I see my dad coming off the porch. Like he was like at that whole time, my dad was watching me from the porch. I didn't see him, but he saw me the whole time. And he saw me looking at Melissa, approaching Melissa. So my dad gets up off the porch and he yells out my name, Chris, come on over here. Hey, look, I'm like, I'm still like 19, maybe 20, but I'm still, I live under their roof and I respect my father. I respect my mom. Okay. So I see him and he's got this look in his eye like he's mad at me about something. So I walk past Melissa. I said, hey, Melissa, because I was going to say more to Melissa, but all I can get was, hey, Melissa. And she said, hey, back. So I walk up to my dad. And I go, yeah, what's up? He said, man, I saw the whole play from over here by the porch. I know you're getting ready to talk to her. You're gonna say more to her than just, hey, okay? So what's going on with you? Why all of a sudden you got a liking from Melissa, particularly when you already know that she's a prostitute? So I said to my dad, look, you already know that I had a huge crush on Melissa, because I was still in high school when she graduated. And he said, yeah. Everybody know you got a crush on her, okay? But that was then. Now things are different. Like Melissa, that's not the same Melissa that you got a crush on. The Melissa you had a crush on, you was just now going into high school. She just finished high school. Okay, that's understandable. But now since you know what you know now, that she's a prostitute, why do you want to associate yourself like this or with someone like that? So then he starts talking to me like, he started teaching me game, like he was popping game to me. See, like, people are going to judge you by the people that you associate yourself with. If you associate yourself with a bunch of drug dealers, then people are going to assume that you're a drug dealer too. If you associate yourself with people that gamble, people are going to assume that you gamble. If you associate yourself with people that steal, then people are going to assume that you steal too. So you're going to be guilt by association. That's when the first time I heard the terminology guilt by association. So you're not a kid no more. You're a young man. So you need to start acting like a young man and surround yourself with people that are doing good things, because people are going to judge you and they're going to judge your character fair or unfairly by the people that you associate yourself with. Okay, so that was popping some good game to me. Okay, I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know I had a message. Okay, said hi. Hey, what's up? Steve? I'm sorry, dude. Sorry I got your message late. I was so busy talking, okay? So, back to the story, all right? So yeah, dad was, telling me some, he was, dropping some gems, and I'm scooping them gems up. Okay. So I understood what dad was saying, but I'm looking at it like this. I still got a big time crush on Melissa. And what dad don't know is I've been on a losing streak since middle school to high school. Okay. I gotta let one off into another female. Okay. I done, looking at magazines, getting off on magazines, or looking at music videos. That's one thing. Okay. But I need the real deal Holyfield. Okay. I need the real deal Holyfield experience. Okay. So, and I struck out on every other girl, okay, that I'm trying to get an opportunity with. So, and I'm gonna do a story time on that, on all the girls I struck out with till I finally got one. Okay. So weeks go by, I get lost in the sauce. I done forgot about entertaining me and Melissa in the backseat of a car. I'm done with that. I'm concentrating more on my work. I'm focusing more on when I do go back to school. I already figured out my major. I already figured out what school I'm going to. So I'm, soaking myself up with what I'm gonna do life when I finally go back to school. So I'm focused on that, on that thing. All right. So it was like about a month passed. I happened to be driving home from the warehouse job, and there was nobody on the street. I mean, the streets was empty. All right. So as I'm driving down the street, and I'm looking at what parking lot I'm gonna park in, I see Melissa, and she's by herself. So I look and see if my dad on the porch, if my dad by the window. So I noticed all the lights were out. It was dark. It was pitch black that night. Nobody really didn't have any lights on in their apartment. The street lights were on, but there was few and far between street lights because most of them were broken or busted or whatever. Okay. So I see Melissa. Melissa knows my car. She knows me. So, damn, I said to myself, what I'm gonna say to her? What can I say clever wise to talk to her? So I said, I better not even do all that shit. I just need to just go on and just pull up to her. And I did. I pulled up to her and I said, hey, why don't you get in the car? And I thought she was going to give me the runaround. Like, why you want me to get in the car? And, you know how women be doing? They know what your intentions are, but they want you to say your intentions to them. Okay. They want to, it's like a game to them or some spit like that. But she got in the car. So we drove off. So we started talking. And I said, Melissa, I used to have a huge crush on you when I don't know why was talking like this, because I sounded like a lame. So I was telling Melissa, yo, I had a crush on you. When I came into high school, you was leaving out of high school. I had a crush since then. She's up here blushing and stuff like that. And and then I told her, like, yo, so if you don't feel comfortable, or if I'm stepping out of bounds, I understand. If you want me to drive you back, and then we'll just end it right here. But yo, I was thinking maybe I could spend some time with you tonight. Okay. So I thought she was going to throw the game. What you mean by spending time? Like, well, like why just tell me what you want. She didn't do none of that stuff. Okay. So she came to me. She said, like, yeah, well, pull over. I'll tell you what, drive up the street. So I was driving up the street. She found a nice place where we can, have a private moment. And I pulled up into this, like, parking space that had a tree like onto the side, so nobody couldn't see what we were doing. All right. So she looked at me. She said, "You got a rubber?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a rubber." And something was telling me like, "Yo, Chris, you better ask her how much it's gonna be because you don't got that type of money." So I said, I better not ask, because if I ask her price, then she's gonna think I'm a sucker. So she's gonna price me more. So I said, "Is 20 okay?" She said, "Yeah, that's okay." I'm going like, word? I'm like, damn. I didn't even think that was going to happen. Okay. I thought she was gonna say more. Okay. I know she wasn't gonna say less. Okay. Let me tell y'all something. I was in that parking lot less than 5 minutes. I was in that parking lot for like 5 freaking minutes because I was so excited. It just seemed like the stars were in line. I didn't take my time. I went right into it. Take your time. What's the rush? Oh, I'm a dog. Look. I took my time. I did not take my time. I busted out, rushed it out. I was like there for like maybe less than 5 minutes. I don't even think I was there that long. All right. So I hooked up with her, and after that, I parked. I pulled up to the side, let her get out the car. She got out the car. Then I drove a little further down to my normal parking spot. I parked, and when I got out the car, I ran right into her again. We didn't even say anything. So I'm going like, okay, mission accomplished. Nobody didn't see. The only people that's gonna know about this is just me and Melissa. So I know it's gonna be a good secret. Okay, nobody's not gonna know about this. Well, let me tell y'all something. News travel fast in the hood. I know I didn't say anything. I'm not 1,000% sure Melissa said anything, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Melissa would have said a lot of things about other people that done busted out and rushed it out on her. Okay, so I don't necessarily think she said it. Okay, said anything. Okay, so in the hood, I'm gonna be honest with you. Somebody's always watching. You may think nobody's not watching you, but somebody is always watching. And I think at this particular night, somebody was watching. So, like a couple of weeks go by. So, I was like, I did my same routine. I wake up, I go to work, get off from work, go to sleep, wake up, and I got up. I washed up, brushed, the normal. I go downstairs and I see Dad watching television. So I said, "Hey, yo, can I borrow the car? Cause I want to go." I forgot what I was planning on doing, and he reached into his pocket and he was going to hand me the keys. Because I was using my dad's car. Because at that time I didn't even have a car. So, before he handed me the keys, he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, so let me tell you something. I don't want no hookers in the back of my car. I don't want no women. I don't want no hookers in the back of my car. I don't want nobody in my car. You understand me? You see, the only real reason why you using this car in the first place to get you back and forth to work, not for you to get your freak on or whatever. Okay? So I didn't even expand on it. I just looked him in the eye and I just said, okay, no more company in the car. Okay. So I didn't even go further into it. So I'm assuming when he said that I assumed that, hey, yo, somebody done told my dad, or my dad happened to see her come out of the car. So I respected my dad's wishes. Okay. If he don't want nobody in the car, he's allowing me to use the car. So I didn't find it as disrespectful or distasteful or any of that stuff. If he doesn't want me to use the car for other things other than going back and forth to work, then I understand. I'm not gonna sit up here and get mad at my dad, and argue with my dad, because what's gonna happen after that? We get into an argument, and then the first thing he's gonna do is not allow me to drive the car. So how I'm gonna get back and forth to work? You understand what I'm saying? So there's more important things in life than, getting your freak on. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, that was a funny story. Now, some more layers to this story. So this is like 8 years later. 8 years later, I'm with my girlfriend at the time. So this was like 8 years ago. So I'm in Walmart. We're in Walmart. We're shopping, right? And she had to go to the service desk because there was an item that they said that they was going to have in the store. They didn't have the item. So she said, I'm going to customer service. So, man, that customer service line was long as train smoke. Okay? So I'm up there waiting on her. And as I'm waiting on her, like the customer service desk is like right next to the men and women's restroom. So as I'm sitting on the bench, guess who comes out of the women's restroom? Melissa. Now, Melissa looks a lot different from the last time I saw Melissa, okay? She's still about 5'1", 5'2". She's a little bit chubbier now, okay? Still got an ass on her, okay? And I saw her. So my girlfriend was sitting was standing in line. She didn't even see Melissa come out of the women's restroom. So I said, hey, what's up? She said, hey, so I'm just talking to her, just catching up on the old time. So, I'm saying, like, how you doing and what's been going on with you? And, she's telling me that, after she moved out of the projects, she moved in with some roommates. It didn't work out. Then she went to school, but dropped out of school. And, they give you that financial aid. So apparently she was kind of behind on her financial aid. So they garnished her refund check. So now she don't even have a refund check. So all her refund check went to her school bills, And I think she said that she was getting like $6,000, $5,000, some large amount of money, because she, used her kids, and that's how she got the big return check. She said, yes, I'm not getting none of that. So she said, what you doing in here? I'm saying, I'm, with my girlfriend, she's in line. And still, my girlfriend just standing in line, not paying attention. She's more concerned about some item that Walmart doesn't have. So she said, oh, I know her, And Melissa said out loud she said my girlfriend's name. She turns around, they both wave, and she says, how you doing? She said, oh, I'm doing fine. They're doing a little small talk, okay? Now, my girlfriend don't know that me and Melissa, we used to mess around. She don't know that. All she knows that Melissa lived in the same hood that I lived in, okay? So she said, that's nice. Y'all two together, that's nice, and, all that, and I'm going like, oh, thank you. So she looks at me, she says, so, you ready to go for round 2? I said, what are you talking about? Now, mind you, this is like 8 years ago. All right. So, I got lost in the sauce on what she was actually talking about. What she was actually saying is, you want to, have a good time right now. I'm like, right now? She said, yeah, we can go into the women's restroom. I'm going like, nah, I can't do that. Maybe some other time. There's 2 reasons why I turned it down. Okay, first and foremost, I got a girlfriend. All right, and my girlfriend is in line. I don't think that's a good look. If I was entertaining that, I don't think that's a good look for me and Melissa to go into the women's restroom fool around in the women's restroom while my girlfriend is in line. I don't think that's a good look. 2, and maybe 2 and 1 can be optional. Like 2 can replace 1, 1 can be 2, can replace 2, whatever the case may be. 2, that's not the same Melissa. That's not the Melissa I had a crush on. All right. And maybe I, soaked my oats in her paws the first time around, where the aura is gone. I don't have a fascination with her anymore. Okay. So yeah, I saw Melissa at Walmart, and I thought that was weird, and I thought it was even more weird. And I just gonna show maybe she was down bad, because like I said, she don't have no income tax check, so she's trying to make ends meet. Whatever, maybe that was why she wanted to fool around, but I wasn't going to do that. Okay. Now, one of my friends asked me, like, but what if you was in Walmart by yourself and you ran into her? Would have entertained her going into the women's restroom? I still wouldn't do it. Like I said, I'm, how you bang a girl that you've been wanting to bang this woman your whole life. Okay. You finally get the opportunity to bang her, you bang her, but now things are hitting a little different. That's my timer. Okay. So things are just hitting a little bit different. You're just not entertaining that no more. Okay. So yeah, that's my story time about Melissa. Y'all guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. Do you guys want me to continue to give out more story times? I got some more story times for your ass. All right. But I gotta go. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Hit me up in the comment section. Tell me if you like it, you didn't like it. If you want to hear more story time content, I will deliver it to you. Guys, I will see you guys later, Gator. I'm gone. Thanks for everyone that hit the like button. Thanks for everyone that subscribed. Thanks for everyone that shared it with their friend, family, and followers. And more importantly, thanks for everybody that commented in the comment section. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces!